Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. We have the beautiful solstice week upon us. We start out the week here, December 19th to December 25th is the dates that this report is for. We start off the week with a lot of Sagittarius energy as we are finishing up with Sagittarius season. And so we will be beginning the week with fiery Sagittarius energy, and then we will move into Cancer season, bringing on more earth energy and grounding things in a little bit more. So this week brings with it a shift of season, and the solstice is here on the Pacific West Coast, takes place at 7:27 p.m. on Thursday, December 21st. That is when the sun moves into the astrological zodiac sign of Capricorn from Sagittarius into that 0 degree point, and is known as the winter solstice, and is the shortest day of the year and the longest night. This is a time of stillness and a time of quiet and a time of darkness and hibernation, and also brings with it a time this year when we have Mercury, literally the planet of communication, in a conjunction with the sun. So there are communications being received this solstice from a Mercury, the messenger of the gods, known as a communicator with the darkness during retrograde. Mercury is deep in retrograde right now, which means that the planet looks as though it's traveling backwards in the sky, but in terms of astrology means that our mind, our communications have slowed down, our transportation has slowed down, our ability to move from task to task in our mind has waned, and we are now feeling this Mercury retrograde pretty strongly. We are moving backward and rehashing things. That's what retrogrades are for. They're for going back and taking care of things that need to be redone, renewed, reconfigured, readjusted. Any word that begins with RE is a retrograde action. And so this is not a time known to, start a new cycle in terms of communicating new ideas or starting new contractual agreements or beginning new cycles. Mercury in retrograde is kind of known as a time where you don't start a lot of new things because we are feeling less of our capacity to think and consider and to communicate. And so during a retrograde time, we want to focus on things that we can go back and sort of redo and put into a more efficient place. So when Mercury does start moving forward again, we have more forward motion with this planet of communication, that things are going to be more in order and make more sense for us as we can then move forward after the retrograde. So that's just kind of in general information about Mercury retrograde. Now, it just depends on the actual zone here of retrograde, which is 8 degrees of Capricorn back to 22 degrees of Sagittarius. What are you working on? What in terms of your life, which house is that? What theme of life is that happening for you? You can find that on your astrological natal birth chart. Look at that end of Sagittarius, those last 8 degrees and beginning 8 degrees of Capricorn. And then you can kind of see where this personally is affecting you a little bit more. But on the solstice this year, so you can kind of look at the chart for the event. I am here in the KPOV studios live with you. I've got all of my charts pulled up. And if you want to follow along, you can do so. Just go to astro-seek.com. And then there is the top bar. You can just touch current planets, planetary positions, and move it forward to December 22nd at the time of the solstice. You can see the solstice chart. And so basically, we can see the thumbprint, the imprint of energy that's being exhibited right now during this solstice, and how this is kind of going to be affecting us with Mercury being in a conjunction with the sun as it shifts from Sagittarius into Capricorn. This is bringing up messages. This is where we are going to be receiving intuitive messages from Mercury traveling into the depths, into the deeps, into the darkness, bringing messages back for us from the underworld. And so this is a powerful time to tune in as we can receive some powerful messaging that can, again, help us to reconfigure, redo something, reconsider, something that needs to be looked at. Again, we have some new information brought up from the depths. Maybe we have some type of realization or some information is brought to us during this Mercury retrograde at the time of this solstice that is going to be affecting then the energy for the next six months as the solstice energy imprint is going to be taken into the future with us. The sign of Capricorn is a cardinal energy. Every sign, every astrological sign has an energy exhibited with it, and the cardinal energy are the initiators. This is where we start new things. Capricorn energy is not afraid to take steps in a new direction and to have a will to engage and to do something new, to take a step in a certain direction. And Capricorn energy, this 10th house of Capricorn, is where we focus on our career. This is where we have themes surrounding the effect that we have on the people around us in terms of the legacy that we are trying to leave in our life for others, for our loved ones, for our children, for the people who look up to us, and we are mentoring for those people. We would like to exhibit these behaviors. And so we can tap into that with Capricorn energy. So as we move into Capricorn season, the themes become a little more serious, a little more ambitious, because Capricorn is an earth sign. Capricorn wants to put feet to the ground and take steps forward. And so this is going to be an interesting start to Capricorn season with Mercury retrograde. So we might not be taking steps forward with new things, but we are going to be taking steps forward in terms of clearing some things up that just haven't felt right and haven't really been in place. We are finishing and continuing conversations that we've been having because Mercury retrograde goes for many weeks at a time. So we're dealing with a lot of the same material that we've been working with for the last few weeks already. So this solstice brings with it an interesting, I really have some things that I'd like to make sure are finished before I can truly take these new steps forward. And quite honestly, in terms of the astrology, there is not a lot of forward-moving momentum until later in January. As Capricorn season moves along, we will certainly feel it pick up steam into January. But before we even get to the solstice on the 21st, we do have a special time where we can focus on these last few days of Sagittarius season. it's like fiery energy. It's adventurous energy. Sagittarius is not afraid to go on an adventure and to explore some areas, some foreign places. Like Sagittarius energy on its own is not afraid of new things. It's immutable energy. So we haven't been feeling like super stuck or anything. Sagittarius season is all about, let's start some new adventures and let's create some larger vision, and really focus on that larger vision and kind of see a more into the distance, and in terms of, things we're working on in life, energy that we're trying to bring into play. Now, about a month ago, we were headed into Sagittarius season. I mentioned that the first week or, the beginnings of Sagittarius season seemed like it was going to be a little more difficult, as all the planets that came into Sagittarius did have to come into a square with Saturn, the planet of boundaries, restrictions, kind of a planet known to be focusing on more of those responsibilities, and it's more of like a reality check. And so now that all the planets have, moved out of this aspect with Saturn and have had this interaction and then was able to move forward. Well, as all these planets are leaving the sign of Sagittarius, they're coming into a square with Neptune, and Neptune is the planet of dreams, hopes, desires. And so there is this reality check, but then also this super dreamy aspect that we go to later in Sagittarius season. And we're in that right now as we talk, as we're having this talk live on Tuesday, on the Tuesday program. On the 19th, the sun is coming into a conjunction with the galactic center of our universe. And so they believe that it's a spiral, right? And we're caught up in one of the outward wings of this spiral. And so from our vantage point here on Earth, they've actually, scientists have pinpointed where the galactic center is, where they believe, would be that point at which everything is kind of spinning out of and spiraling out of. And so this galactic center is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And so this is a magical point. This is where we receive energy and communications and messaging in from the galactic center. So, that is a point that is very strong in terms of the vision and tapping into this grander vision and seeing, maybe there's been like some big realization about like some foreign place you'd like to travel, or some adventure you'd like to go on, or some place that you'd like to take your life, and this galactic center point is going to bring in some blessings. It's going to bring in some almost like positive pushes in the right direction. It's like good. It's almost like a good luck, because Sagittarius is the sign of good luck anyways, ruled by the planet of Jupiter. And so it's always good. The messages that come in from the galactic center are always good. They're always helpful, always resonating on a higher frequency and continuing to hold the most benevolent outcome for your life. So that sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. How about you? So lots of communications coming in during this solstice. I feel as though the winter solstice obviously is a time when it's dark. And so we want to go internal. This is where we can truly find some intuitive messaging. We can get those intuitive blasts if we can sort of cut the cord from the noise. And it's a tough time of year to cut the cord from the noise, but it can be done. You can do this with oming. Just by vibrating the upper palate of your throat and mouth, you can open up for 7 seconds. If you vibrate the upper palate of your mouth for 7 seconds, you open up your third eye. And so 7 seconds of oming, you've opened up your third eye, and now you can receive a little more messaging from the universe. Another way to cut the cord from the noise is by candle gazing. If you light just one little tiny candle, doesn't need to be a fire. I mean, I love staring into a big raging fire also, and that is definitely something that you should put on your solstice to-do list. If you celebrate the Yule and you're going to celebrate the solstice, a big raging fire all day long is absolutely one of the biggest blessings you can give yourself on the solstice. But candle gazing, just lighting one tiny little candle and sitting in a comfortable position, doesn't need to be cross-legged, doesn't need to be anything special. Just sit at your kitchen table and keep your eyes on that candle and let it burn through let it just burn through. And it has an amazing way of clearing your mind. You just gaze at that candle and you think of nothing, and you just let nothing basically happen. And so in those empty voids, when we create these empty, silent spaces, that's where we can receive this intuitive messaging. That is obviously something important that we could and should do if we desire to tap in with this higher harmonic solstice energy that is going to be upon us. There is definitely a lot of other ways just to clear your mind, and I think exercise is one of the ways, and that is something that we lack a little bit this time of year because it's so dark and quiet, and we don't feel like leaving the house very much, even when it's cold and it's rainy and snowy and whatever. But exercise can open up your mind. Just breathing deeply, fresh air, even if it is crisp and cold, that has a way of bringing more oxygen into your system and opening your mind and clearing your mind too. So any of these like really simple ways to just quiet your mind and to allow these intuitive messages to come through, I just think it's a really important, positive time to do that. And so as we build into the full moon in Cancer on the day after Christmas, December 26th, we have a waxing moon this week. And so moving from a new moon into a full moon, that is a building of the energies. We created some new intentions last week on the new moon in Sagittarius on December 12th. And that was the day that Mercury went retrograde. I hope you were able to find some real, beautiful, quiet space for yourself, because as I was mentioning last week in the program, I just really feel as though this week and last week is the true quiet phase of this year, and it's just hitting perfectly on the point over the solstice for sure. But as we move out of this week into next week, we are working on these intentions that we set back on the 12th on that new moon, building into the full moon on the 26th in Cancer. And so this is a waxing energy. This is where the energy starts building up again. And so truly take the time early on this week to settle in and to allow yourself that time to just kind of space out a little bit, create that vision, do just the Sagittarius thing where you kind of just let your mind rest and you dream a little bit and you kind of think of things from different perspectives. Because as we move into this week and this weekend and next week, the energy starts to definitely pick up again a bit. We have multiple planets stationing, well, one planet and an asteroid, the asteroid Chiron, stationing direct on the 26th of December, and then Jupiter stationing direct on the 30th of December. So the energy will not, pick up too fast, but it's going to definitely start to look forward a little bit more. And so anything we can do to be in super retrograde mode right now is really good. Cleaning, reorganizing, just becoming aware that things are there, just kind of putting your attention in different places. Maybe even if you're not taking steps forward, just kind of realizing that things are out there, that realizing the effect that your energy, is having on people around you, that these are all things we can slow down and consider during retrograde time. So, it just is a really quiet time, and I feel as though my mind has certainly slowed down a little bit. I feel as though with my astrology reports, definitely the last couple weeks, I've been more focused on sort of fewer things happening. And I'm giving my mind an opportunity to rest on these things a little bit more without forcing myself to move from one thing to the next too quickly, making sure that I'm taking my time and crossing all my T's, dotting all my I's, making my list, checking it twice. And so, thank you so much for giving me the time and space to provide these reports for you. I love being here, and I hope that it truly is helpful. If you need to get a hold of me, you can do so at StaceyDread, StacieDread @gmail.com. And I hope that you have an amazing holiday week. I'll be back next Tuesday on the full moon in Cancer. So that'll be a nice moment to look forward to for me. I know that I definitely look forward to being here with you. So, we'll do it again next week. Take care of yourself. Thank you. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.